In this video, today in the Lit House, we discuss the most prolific scorer the NBA has ever seen. A lethal weapon crafted for one thing and one thing only: getting buckets. A one surefire face of the league and staple of the NBA's Mount Rushmore that now faces questions on whether or not he can lead his own team to championship glory from a promising start in OKC, a part of a legendary duo that never fulfilled its promise, to back-to-back championships that left more questions than answers. Now, a part of his fifth team in his career, that sweet poetry in motion that is Kevin Durant only leaves more room for scrutiny when the larger question looms of leadership now in Houston with the Rockets. We pose the question today: is this the beginning of a final run for the Slim Reaper before his own career fades into infamy? Or will this be a last hurrah for the greatest scorer the NBA has ever seen?
Wait till I get my D right. Then they gon' crown me king.
Alright y'all, welcome to another video. And in this video, I want to talk about Kevin Durant, a king without a throne of his own. So for part one, let's talk about the Phoenix Suns experiment. Or as I like to say, super team on paper, dysfunction in reality. So the Suns had everything you would expect from a contender: Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, and eventually Bradley Beal. 3 certified bucket getters. But that was the problem. Too much scoring, not enough structure. No real point guard, no defensive anchor, no defined pecking order. They fired Monty Williams, a respected coach, and replaced him with Frank Vogel. Then fired Vogel after one season. KD had moments, but the team lacked chemistry. And let's be honest, KD wasn't leading, he was just hooping. When things got tough, there was no clear leader on the court. And that's what every championship team always has. But let's fall back just a little bit. Part 2, let's talk about no rings in OKC, or the one that got away. So let's not forget, KD, Russ, Harden were all on the same team in 2012. They made the finals, but couldn't finish. Then Harden got traded. Then in 2016, they blew a 3-1 lead to the Warriors. In my opinion, that broke the Thunder. And many would say it broke KD too. Instead of running it back, he left for the Warriors. The team that beat him. Every media pundit, every fan never looked at him the same after that. It was like KD had the talent and the backing, but not the killer instinct to close the deal. And instead of growing through that failure, he took the shortcut. So let's skip over the Warriors right quick and hit the Brooklyn Nets. You know, the superstar era that imploded. KD chose Brooklyn. He brought Kyrie, then Harden. It was supposed to be, once again, unstoppable. But drama followed them everywhere. Injuries, vaccine mandates, trade demands. They won one playoff series together, and that was it. Durant, KD played well eventually, but never got the franchise to rally behind his leadership. And like Phoenix, it always felt like a collection of stars, not a team. Brooklyn was KD's team to build, and he couldn't hold it together. The chemistry was fake, and once again, the clock ran out. But for this last part, let's talk about everything. Just a common theme. Great player, but not a franchise leader. Nobody, and I mean nobody, should ever question KD's talent. He's one of the best scorers that ever touch a basketball. But everywhere he's gone, unless he was under Steph Curry's leadership, the team fell apart. He's not the glue. He's not the vocal leader. He's not the culture setter. That's why he keeps switching teams, chasing the right situation instead of building it himself. KD wants the ring, but he's never been the one to truly carry the weight that comes with it. At this point, maybe KD doesn't need another ring to prove who he is. But if we're talking legacy, we'll always wonder what could have been if he led just one team all the way. And with that, I'm going to send it over to my man Reb to take it.
Appreciate that, Sean. Look, appreciate y'all for rocking with us today as we talk about Kevin Durant. And is this the beginning of something special in Houston? Or is this the beginning of the last dance? Appreciate all the support y'all been showing and the love. Y'all make sure, since y'all stayed this long, y'all share the video, like the video, subscribe to the channel. We're on the quest to 20K subscribers, and we are thankful for everything that we have received as of lately with the content upgrades. Make sure y'all share, like, and subscribe as we continue to talk about Kevin Durant's basketball journey. Now look, I want to be transparent. For those who've been rocking with me for years, I have always admired Kevin Durant's, like I said, beautiful poetry for the game. You know what I'm saying? He is a hooper's hooper. There's nothing you can say about his actual game that is distasteful. Everything about his game is what basketball was meant to be. If you were to create Kevin Durant in a lab, you couldn't make a better basketball player than Kevin Durant. The questions around Kevin Durant have always been the same questions. Going back to OKC with Russ and James Harden. Then over to Golden State with Steph and Clay and Draymond. Then over to Brooklyn with Kyrie. Then down to Phoenix, as all of them have been already documented in this little mini doc called Kevin Durant, The Last Dance. I want to focus in this segment on KD in Houston. And is it time for him to finally shed the narrative of he can't lead and really he's just an exceptional number two? I'm not a person that is as offended about that notion as some people are. But it does, as I say it out loud, feel disrespectful to even consider KD a two. I feel going to a team like the Houston Rockets, full of young, hungry talent, with a small mix of championship pedigree, with a guy like Fred VanVleet and Jeff Green on the back of that roster. I feel like this is the perfect situation where timing and opportunity and talent all mixed together. I feel like this is a team that if KD is able to win on, he will get the credit for being the leader and the piece. Look at how this team is built. You got Fred VanVleet, a point guard, which is the one thing, as stated by Sean earlier in this doc, that the Phoenix Suns did not have. You got Fred VanVleet, a champion in Toronto. You got Alfred Sengun, a big who's probably a top 5 big in the league right now, especially offensively. You have what I feel like is the second coming of Ron Artest and Amen Thompson. You've got a very sneaky, underrated piece in Reed Shepherd, who I think is gonna be one of the best shooters in the league going forward for the next 10 years. if he can find his footing everywhere else. And then you have Jabari Smith, who Houston just extended. Not to mention Dorian Finney-Smith from the Lakers. To me, Kevin Durant chose the perfect spot where talent, culture, and youth all meet. And it's gonna be interesting to see how quickly all of those pieces can mold together. The theme of the rest of Kevin Durant's stop throughout his career, even starting off in OKC, was another mutual star on the same level of Kevin Durant, or close to, on each one of these teams. What do I mean by that? In OKC, you had Russell Westbrook. In Golden State, you had Stephen Curry. In Brooklyn, you had Kyrie Irving and James Harden. In Phoenix, you had Devin Booker, and to a lesser extent, Bradley Beal. This is the first spot in KD's career where there is no other known perennial all-star on this roster that can be used as an argument piece to say that KD couldn't get it done alone, to say that this guy is the more talented or the more important piece than KD. This is the time, if ever, for KD to finally show that he is a guy that can not only be the most talented player on the court and the most dynamic piece on the court, but the engine that drives a championship. Once again, I'm asking you guys to subscribe, and please comment in the conversation. Feel free after this video. Do y'all feel like this is KD's last dance? We know that this is something that has been haunting Kevin Durant ever since the championships in Golden State. People already took issue with him leaving OKC after losing to the Golden State Warriors, after being up 3-1 in that Western Conference Finals series, going on to Golden State and being really the reason that they won those two championships against the Cleveland Cavs and LeBron James and company. But it was always this echo, this haunting idea in the back of people's minds, and I don't know, maybe in the back of Kevin Durant's mind, that people always gave Steph credit for those championships. Steph was looked at as the unquestionable leader and driving force for that Golden State Warriors dynasty. So even though he went to Golden State and he won those championship rings, it doesn't seem as though those are something that defines his legacy. Let's be honest. We remember KD more for all of the dynamic things he can do, being 7 foot, 7'1", whichever one, shooting from 30 feet behind the three-point line, having one of the sauciest handles that a 7-footer has ever had, being able to get to that mid-range and stop and pop on a dime. Like I said, poetry in motion in every essence of the word when you watch him play. When we think about Kevin Durant, we don't think about a great championship run. We don't think about him in the same light that we think about Jordan or Kobe when it comes to quote-unquote alpha males leading a team to win. We almost view Kevin Durant as a Renaissance piece, as a work of fine art in the last great era of basketball. One of the rarest portraits ever drawn. But the problem with those portraits, even though they're amongst others in the Sistine Chapel and other museums around the world, they're just a piece. They're not the Sistine Chapel. They're not the Mona Lisa. They're not Van Gogh's Starry Night. And it's a travesty that a guy as talented as Kevin Durant, his career is now defined as a litmus test for the hooper and not for the great NBA champion. And like I said, face a Mount Rushmore that he should be. This stretch that he's about to go through in Houston is a defining, critical moment for Kevin Durant. This is going to speak volumes about how he is remembered. And I think the pieces that are around him defensively, Dorian Finney-Smith, Amir Thompson, you know what I'm saying? Amin Thompson, with a hard-minded coach like Emi Udoka, and guys that are the perfect role players, albeit not yet stars. But he has the perfect mix of competing and talent, along with his, like I said, his renaissance level of basketball. I think this is the time where KD proves everyone wrong and actually, proves myself wrong and actually becomes the driving force of a championship team. But it doesn't matter what I think. I make these videos for the NBA fans and those that love the game. So now I'm turning to you and I'm asking you, what do you think? Is this the moment where Kevin Durant finally sheds all the nonsense that surrounds his name when it comes to not being able to get it done? Or does he fall short and the Cinderella have to finally leave the ball because it's almost midnight and this was the last dance? Y'all let me know in the comment section below, and please, as always, share the video, like the video, subscribe to the best basketball content in the land. Think about becoming a channel member and check out some of these latest releases.